Welcome back to another episode of EHC Unfiltered. I am your host, Stephen Garrity, and I am joined with my co-host, Haley. Haley, say hi to the people.
Hello, people.
How are you doing today, Haley?
Well, could be better, could be worse, but overall, I'm like super happy to be doing this. So, yeah. How are you, my guy?
Good. I mean, that's the best answer I guess I could hope for. I'm doing all right. Doing pretty good. I got to go for a walk today. Those aren't super common up here in the winter, so that's been nice. But let's talk about that because I think people are struggling more than they're willing to admit right now, and not just mentally, but just in their day to day, how they show up, and just kind of how they function. And I don't think a lot of people know exactly what actually drives how they feel. So today I want to get into mental health a little bit, but not in a surface level way. I want to go over a little bit more of like environment, medication, lifestyle, stress, food, just all of it, and have a real conversation about, what all this actually looks like to people.
Yeah, I think it's super important topic right now because there are so many layers to our existence going on in the moment.
Yeah. And I think honestly, the biggest one for me has been the sun. So being in like upstate New York, I've noticed even when it's cold, even on like the really cold days, like today when I went for a walk, it like said it felt like it was 20 something degrees outside on my phone before I left. But even just with the sun being out, it was so much nicer to be outside and just moving.
Mm,
And I know we were talking a little bit before because I just took myself off of my Lexapro and my Buspirone
mm.
with conjunction and conversation with my psychiatrist for everyone listening. But we had like a fake spring up here for like 2 days where it was like 60 degrees and beautiful, and I was like, "Man, it really feels like my antidepressants are working." And then the second the sun was gone and it snowed again, I was like, "Never mind."
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
But so I think we underestimate how much our environment, is influencing, like, our baseline.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I even think like being in Arizona, based in Arizona, for me, I literally have the extreme opposite position. Like we get way too much heat, way too much sun, and that has almost an override of maybe dopamine in our system to where like you get lazy, you lose your appetite, you kind of feel fatigued a lot. It kind of has a similar but opposing effect.
Well, that sounds almost more like just being overheated, which is definitely, a thing in Arizona. If anyone's ever spent any sort of significant time out there, especially in, the warmer months, like it's unbearable to be outside sometimes, especially if you're in the
Yeah.
valley.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's definitely a happy middle ground there, but I would still trade upstate New York for 300 plus days a year of sunshine all day long. I would take that 10 out of
Really?
10 times.
Okay. Interesting.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I wouldn't. Yeah, it's so depressing when it's just
Yeah.
gray out. It's just gross.
Yeah.
But,
Oh.
and it's not just because people talk about, like, your living environment, right? As far as, like, your home and, like, keeping your space clean and things like that. That's also,
Mhm.
like, very important. But if you walk outside and don't see the sun for, like, 3 months, like, that's
Mhm.
not gonna help anybody. Um
Yeah.
And especially if you
Yeah.
are someone who already has, like, some sort of depression or something like that,
Yeah.
I
It's
feel
only
like
just been a
any
compound.
sun is better. Yeah.
Yep. So would you
Well,
suggest to anyone at any point to like if the environment is affecting them and they're not aware of it, say this is like a client of yours, would you even suggest like maybe reconsider where you're living? Or would that feel too much to like maybe you're overstepping?
no, I mean, it would definitely depend on the client, right? Like, if someone especially if they just came to me and they're
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I have seasonal depression. I live in, Washington State or whatever." I'm not just gonna be like, "Move." Well, that's just not that's not realistic. If, I've had a client for a while and it's a reoccurring thing, like Yeah, it'll get to the point where I feel like just as a human being, I feel like you would just because you have a relationship with these people, right? So it's
Yeah.
just kinda like, do you think you would be happier somewhere else? Like, is moving somewhere else beneficial for you? And because that could be, for any number of reasons, like environment is definitely one, but that could mean different things for different people, right?
Mhm.
Some people love the snow and they wanna be in places that are, have more snow, more seasons, however they wanna phrase it. I want sunshine, and if I can have a beach to go along with it, that's even uh, but, it could be even like a professional environment,
Yeah, that's fair.
moving for, a healthier job, whether that's a financially stronger position for you to be in or just somewhere you're happier to wake up and go every day, because that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when it comes down to stress that can be accumulating for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's one of the things is like work is one of the big things, like your work environment. Obviously, like the general environment as far as like where you live and then, like your household, how you keep that together, but also the people that you keep around in your life are part of your environment. And I know plenty of people who, have stayed in an environment longer than they should have as far as talking about the people they keep around them. And it's almost like these people don't want to fix their problems.
Yeah,
It's like people really get in their own way when they get stuck in whether it's a comfortability thing or the fear of change or whatever it is. I see a lot of people just stuck.
I know,
And
and
it's
a
like
lot of that.
nothing driven away themselves.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time it kinda comes down to like identity. Like we have created such an attachment to this way of living and this way of like how we see ourselves and how we think other people see us. That kind of like just continues down the rabbit hole of the sameness and getting stuck and stagnant and just repetitive behavior. So sometimes that we don't realize is affecting us until I think sometimes we get to a point where we're so tired of having a certain experience, then we kind of create change, but sometimes people can be stuck for a long time in the same job, same people, same home, same everything. So I know what you mean.
Well, it's like that whole thing, right? As far as like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't
Can't
make it
make him
drink.
drink. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite sayings.
So,
Yes.
and that's very real, especially with like coaching. I mean, everyone has that friend, first of all, that will come to you for advice and then do the exact opposite of whatever you told them, and then complain to you that the thing didn't work.
Yeah.
That's kind of what being a coach is like.
Yeah. Very fair.
Sometimes,
But it's like,
sometimes
but you're paying me to lead you to water. Just drink it.
I've 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 had, and that's where like the difference comes in, right? Of having the knowledge and being able to apply it. And sometimes people like we can make up excuses for people all day long as far as why something's not working for them or whatever, but sometimes people just need to get the fuck out of their own way. You are the reason that things aren't working because you're not doing them. Sometimes it is that simple.
Yeah, for sure.
What were we talking about before that?
Well, environment, stuckness, stagnation.
Yeah, a change of environment can be great. Obviously, it's not always feasible, especially in today's age. It's not the easiest to just pick up and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I think you were saying something about like the perception aspect
Mhm.
of like the way people see us and things like that. I do see that come into play quite a bit with like medications, especially when it comes to like mental health.
Mm.
And because I've seen it from like friends and family and then like myself as well, just as far as like my personal perception of it is there's nothing wrong with taking medications for your mental health, whether it's depression, anxiety, whatever you have going on. That was always my perspective until like it was time for me to get on some. And I was like, I feel like that doesn't apply to me. Like everyone else
Interesting.
is fine except me. I shouldn't have to take it. You know what I mean?
Wow, interesting.
So I still struggled with that until it was kind of just like at a point where I was like, all right, I need some help. So all that stuff is very, very real because I want to say that because there are people out there that are like, all you have to do is go outside and touch grass and look at the sun and you won't have depression anymore. And it's like, don't get me wrong, those things help.
Mhm.
All right. But, chemical imbalances exist. Could that be influenced by like your gut health and the food that you eat and your lifestyle habits and all of those things? Of course. Of course. But to say that, if you're healthy and happy and outside that you won't be depressed, it's like,
Yeah.
I guess if
Come
you're
on, there's
happy, you're not.
there's a lot
But
more
that's not the
layers to it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I just recently took myself back off of my medications. I was feeling so sedated. It was awful. Like I couldn't, and not even in like a fun way.
Yeah.
Like it was very much so just like stuck on the couch. I was like, I have these things I want to do. I want to do them. I need to do them. Like some of them are for work or whatever, and I couldn't get myself to pull the trigger on like so many things. So I mean, yeah, we tried the well, I guess that's January, February. Yeah, I tried it for a little over 3 months and wasn't getting the results I wanted. So I'm doing better now
What's
off of it, which
Yeah.
is
I was gonna
funny.
ask, what's the next step? Are you guys just gonna take yourself off of it and try other things, or what else is
Well,
next?
my psychiatrist wants to try other things, obviously, because every psychiatrist on the planet is gonna be like, drugs is your answer.
Right.
That's their job. I need to get in with my therapist or get in with a new therapist because I'm about to be on my fourth one in the last 2 years. Um,
Yes.
I'll probably figure out more from there. But yeah, to be honest, I was like trying to just use it as like a tool, and it just was not an effective one for me. So I'm gonna go back to just doing what I was doing.
Okay.
But that's not to say again that it doesn't work for other people. I know plenty of people who are actually on the same combination of medications that I was on, and it works great. And I know some people that needed to add like an ADHD medication to it to make it work, all that. But I'm gonna stick to weed for a little while.
You're like, "This is my drug of choice. This
Yeah,
does me
I'm
well."
gonna I'm gonna stick to my personal choice. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Which is funny because like sometimes I do like sit there and think like, dude, do I need to take like a little break from smoking? And I'm like, it's not really getting in my way.
Mm.
So I just think there's still like that stigma around it,
Yeah, for sure.
like the
Dude,
whole
the
like if you
functional Yeah, but that's what I was gonna say just now is like the whole idea of like functional smokers. I don't know what you call it, like functional stoners. That's what it is. Functional stoners is like a real fucking thing. I know quite a few and they get some shit done. They actually can't get shit done without it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's the thing, right, is, like, I can, and sometimes it depends on the day, like, sometimes taking a little hit will help me go get that thing accomplished, and then sometimes I'm like, I can't touch the stuff until I have all my shit done, like,
Right.
so it does depend, and I've definitely seen people who can't have any sort of outlet, I guess, would be one word
Vice
to
or
use for
outlet.
it, but
Yeah, whatever.
yeah,
But I think
they
it
can't
does
have
come down to
anything
like,
without abusing it, yeah.
yes, it's baseline sense of self awareness though.
Mhm, so you guys are making me look bad.
You're like, this is why we can't have nice things, okay?
But, yeah, like, you can smoke a little bit of weed. It's alright. It's okay, in my
Yeah.
experience. I do think it's funny that we grew up too listening to, like, all the drug programs and, like the DARE program and all that stuff. Not once has a stranger ever offered me drugs, at least not
Ever
in,
at a
like,
high
a
school party?
well, I mean, like, it's different if people are smoking and you, like, go up to them or, like, something like that, you know what I mean? But I mean as far as, like, just the way it was presented to us, like, I was never a little kid on the side of the road and someone was like, "You wanna try these drugs?" You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that didn't happen. I didn't really experience too much peer pressure around, like, drugs ever,
yeah.
but alcohol for sure.
Okay,
I
yeah.
never, like, it was never like, "Oh, I'm not drinking," and they're like, "Oh, why not?" kinda thing. It was always just I feel like the culture itself, you know what I mean? With, like, the drinking games and, like,
Yeah.
stuff like that, like, most drinking games revolve around chugging whatever you're drinking.
Yep, yep, for sure. I mean, what's interesting, I was thinking about you said when you had said that you'd never been just, like, offered drugs off the fucking cuff of in some scenario. I think part of that has to do with that it's not a cheap habit. So people are a
Yeah,
little
so most
stingy.
stuff is not cheap, yeah,
Like, when you've
for
got
sure.
a, like, 8 ball of cocaine, that's not cheap. Not everyone's the person who bought it isn't gonna be like, here it is for the party of 20." Like, I don't think it works like that. So I think they should have had price range induced in the aspect of when and how you're gonna be offered.
Yeah, I think for girls, it might be a little bit different.
Yeah, I know,
I
it's
think
fair.
girls get offered free drugs a little more often.
Yeah.
But anyway, besides drugs,
I
really, but
know,
I didn't.
right, right.
But no, like, I use weed for stress, anxiety, all that stuff, and it works for me. It is one of those things where it's like, yeah, if I didn't get those benefits from it, like, would I still smoke?
Mm.
Probably, just because I enjoy smoking.
Oh, okay.
Like, I do just enjoy smoking weed, but I don't know if I ever would have started doing it as much if it didn't give me that same, like, relief that I was looking for.
Gotcha.
Like, I don't think it would've gotten to this point.
Yeah.
So, it's hard
No,
to
that
say.
makes
So
sense. I'm actually surprised for myself that I never had to be like, I'm technically diagnosed as generalized anxiety disorder, but I've never gone down the road of taking some sort of prescription to help it. And I don't know how. I don't know how the fuck I got away from it because my shit has been debilitating off and on for a long time. But I don't know if I'm lucky that I didn't or if I'm lucky that I don't know, either one, because I feel like it's really important to have had the experience of knowing how these chemicals can affect you and even the detox process from it too. I wish I kinda had that understanding, but at the same time, like, I also have the understanding of never having to and finding ways to actually heal and cope without it. So,
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I mean, that is huge, and it is crazy to me that, like we said, like, doctors or, psychiatrists a lot of the times, like, their first thing is drugs, right? Straight to drugs all the time. Most people don't practice the habits, like you're saying, and, like, the healthy solutions to it.
yeah,
So that's probably how you did make it so far is because, you know, most of your life has been very fitness and health oriented,
yeah,
and even just around, like, general, like, wellness and, like, mental and spiritual wellness and things like that. So that's probably what carried you this far, at least.
yeah, I'd say so. But I mean, I feel like you've also kind of been in this realm of like learning how to work with your dysfunction, whatever. So do you just feel like yours got to a point of extreme where it kind of didn't seem like you had any other choice?
Yeah, honestly, like, mine, a lot of and, like, even, like, the coaching business and everything as a whole, like, absolutely came from just being backed into a corner,
Um,
which is just super funny because that was the first thing I thought of when you were talking about that is, some people do need to hit rock bottom before they bounce back up.
mhm.
Now I just try to help people not have to get to that point.
Yeah, yeah. Like using your pain for passion or whatever that saying is.
Yeah, yeah, but what was your initial question? I'm sorry.
Of like, even though that you've been in like the health industry or like just even health and wellness for yourself, I'm
Mhm.
surprised that you ended up going and getting prescriptions to help yourself. Was it because you went to such an extreme at some point that you needed that to help you get out, or you just didn't have other resources?
Absolutely. So it was for me, I didn't I think I've always dealt with like a little of this, little of that growing up and throughout my life. But it wasn't until I got out of the Marine Corps that like everything kind of hit me all at once.
Mm,
I mean, granted, I was going through a divorce, I was getting out of the Marine Corps. Um, people were dying. I had just gotten arrested, so I was getting ready to, go to court, which wound up in me going to jail. And like there was a lot of life situations going on. I also quit drinking, quit smoking, quit everything. I was living in a trailer, like, in my mom's driveway for a little while because I didn't have a plan when I got out of the military. Like,
okay.
I was all over the place.
Okay, that makes sense. You had no way to cope, and, like, all of your symptoms probably just exacerbated.
Yeah, exactly, and then so, like, I was having a lot of panic attacks, things like that, and, through once I started therapy, come to find out a lot of the things that I was experiencing, are very common when people go to, like, a rehab, regardless of what it is for, like, substance-wise or anything.
Mm,
It's just that when you go to a rehab, you have, like, a whole team of people, like,
mhm,
kind of guiding you through it, whereas when people do stuff like that, they're just kind of on their own, cold turkey, and so that was kind of the situation I put myself in, and then, yeah, I just let it burn the candle from both ends until it was too much, but I still don't wanna be on medications, so it's one of those things, I don't think it has to be forever for everyone or anything like that. I do think there are, things that we can do, especially with like our food choices, our gut health, lifestyle, stress management, and things like that. I think those make the biggest impact for the most people because they're just things that most people don't do. Right.
yeah,
I don't think so. Like we were talking about, like some people will say, like, not even to like go around people who believe in depression or anxiety or things like that. That's disgusting. But um, like chemical imbalances and things again are very real. However, I don't think someone should be able to be diagnosed with depression unless they're on a healthy diet, exercising, like there's some sort of like structure. And I'm not, some professional as far as the psychological standards for what that would be. But
yeah.
like it seems like you would have to be like, well, do you go outside?
Right, yeah. I
Like, it
mean,
seems like a silly
art
question to ask. Yeah, but if you, like, stay inside all the time, you live in a basement, like, that's one
mm,
of the biggest things people who work night shifts deal with is just the issue of not seeing the sun. There's not being outside when the sun is up,
yeah,
uh,
yep, for sure.
is a huge thing.
Yeah.
But let me see, pulling up my notes.
I mean, and we were talking earlier
Uh,
too, to check in with each other, the whole gut portion of
mhm.
understanding and finding that gut brain connection and how much our gut influences how we are perceiving, responding, and experiencing ourselves and our reality, and also how it's also affecting our hormones, which also tends to change how we see, feel, and perceive our life and experience emotions in general. Like, that's why I think starting there is like paramount before we get into just throwing in some sort of prescriptions, you know?
Well, and because people don't realize your gut actually sends more signals to your brain than your brain sends to your gut.
Hmm.
So, like, there's actually more receptors, like receiving signals in your brain from your gut than the other way around. So,
Right.
when we're filling our gut with all this shit, like that's what's sending signals to our brain now is just a bunch of junk.
Hmm. Yep.
It's gross. And it's like people talk about like clean energy and stuff all the time, right?
Hmm.
Like we're just putting the worst possible fuel in our bodies and just being like, why isn't it working right?
Hmm.
You're feeding it garbage.
Yeah.
But yeah, most people are, skipping the boring stuff that like actually matters. And I say boring not because it is, but because it just doesn't have the same energy as like talking about like psychedelics or drugs or peptides or, whatever's trending at the moment. but like the basics really are like where it's at.
Yeah, and I think when you say boring, it's just because it can be monotonous, but consistency overall is where it gets you to a baseline of function and normalcy. And I think when people finally get to a place of understanding and getting a felt sense for how good that actually feels, I think that's where natural motivation can kind of come from. But you have to get through some of the hardship of recreating new habits. And eventually the reward
Mhm.
is feeling better, but you have to feel that in order to really know like how to stay with it or just find yourself back in those habitual ways again and again. But it's not, I get it, it is boring.
And that's and like you said, as far as like getting stuck in those things like again and again, it the boring things are where people trip up and then wind up in that like cascade like we were talking about earlier, right? Before the podcast.
Mhm.
Like we were saying, chronic stress impairs your digestion. Impaired digestion means you're not absorbing nutrients properly. Poor nutrition tanks your energy and your mood. Low energy leads to worse habits, worse sleep, less movement, more reactive eating. And then that feeds right back into stress. And
Mhm.
then it all just spirals.
Yep.
And a lot of people, that's where, making these big changes, especially when people are making them by themselves for the first time in their life, right? They're doing it by themselves. So as soon as they spiral, that's gone. They've got no one to kind of reel them back in.
Yeah.
But also it's just a loop and it's never just one thing, right?
Yeah.
One thing always leads to something else and vice versa. Because the same way, chronic stress can lead to gut issues can lead to chronic stress. So it's like which came first? It's gonna
Yes.
depend on the person. Each case is gonna be different.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny you say that because I was thinking to myself a while ago when we first started talking about the gut issue aspect of it or like gut brain connection of like the chicken or the egg. It's per person situation. I do believe most of the time though, I probably say 90% of the time, stress is first. You know what I mean? Because we only
Yeah.
end up creating bad habits out of stress. I don't think a bad habit comes out of just because we feel good. Most of the time it can, but I mostly think that stress can be the first downward kind of like symptom of kind of cultivating those habits. But who knows? Everyone's different.
So, I mean, I think that's definitely I would agree with what you're saying as far as, like, stress coming first is definitely very common. However, the only reason I would challenge that is just because of, like, the average person's diet.
Mhm.
Like, when I think of the average person's diet in America, it's like most people are going out to eat at least once, twice, 3 times a week, if not more. Like,
Yep.
so that doesn't really matter, like, what you have going on. Everyone's got stuff going on, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
But if 2 people have the same shit going on and one of them's eating chicken and rice when they get home and the other one's getting McDonald's on the way home from work, like, one of them is gonna be handling things better than the other one.
Yeah. No, that's a
And
great
that's
point.
however, that's why I'm saying it's dependent, right? Because if 2 people are on the same diet, let's say, and then one of them has an issue at work, their hours get cut, there's some big additional life stressor added in onto their plate, and then their diet falls apart, that's when I would say, yeah, the stress was the first one to, incorporate into that situation.
That's a really good point,
I wonder if your
actually.
position on I wonder if your position on that though is just because you grew up in a much more health conscious family. So you like your baseline for people is much healthier.
And
Does that
that's
make
why I
sense?
was yeah, totally. As you were saying that, I was like, I think I give people the benefit of the doubt too much.
Yeah, because like I was the my household was like the opposite of that growing up, and not to say that like my parents didn't care as much or anything. I just don't think they knew because I mean I was the one that got my family into being like more healthy for the most part. I don't know if they'll
Mhm.
ever admit that, but it was definitely me because like we grew up though with like we were the snack house. You know what I mean? All of my friends liked
Yeah.
coming over because we had the snacks. We had all the bags of chips and we had the cookies and we had the ice cream sandwiches and the soda. It
Okay.
got to a point where, like, both of my parents and both of my brothers were each drinking, like, a 2 liter of soda a day. It's
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So, from my experience, it's like, okay, so to me now, any issue that happens is because of this. Is because we
Okay.
do not treat ourselves well. That was kinda part of where, like, all of this came from for me too, is I was like, "I don't wanna look like my family."
Yeah. Yeah,
Like, a
yeah,
lot of my
yeah.
extended family and stuff is obese and, like,
Okay.
morbidly so.
Wow.
So I think I'm a little more pessimistic on the human aspect of the
No,
equation.
I
I'm like, "Nah,
genuinely
it's probably your
think
fault."
no, that makes a lot of sense though, because in my view, though, I still have gut issues and I've eaten relatively healthy a majority of my life. So that's where my perspective of stress and being induced in that can be the ulterior like motive for something else becoming an issue. So I think that's actually a really good part of this conversation to understand where people have completely opposing views or perspectives about a thing because of their background, their environment, their resources, what they've
Yes.
had in front of them. I think it's important to obviously know and see that both sides can exist because I would have, for whatever reason, never
Well, and
thought of
that's
that
right, because
because it
that's the
wasn't part
thing
of
too,
mine.
is like right, and that's neither one of us is wrong in our viewpoint on that, right? It's just
Right.
2 situations that can exist at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's why it's important to kinda know each person individually, right? But even just, like, when it comes to, like, meeting people, I feel like that's so important.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even just,
Yep.
like especially in today's world with, like, all the crazy shit we have going on, like, that's I feel like that is a really good example of, like, people just have different experiences.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they're any less the people or anything, it's just different experiences.
Yeah.
But regardless, you know, back to the basics and things like that, it's if you're not sleeping, you're not gonna get the results you want. It
Yeah.
really is that simple. That's I start with sleep with a lot of
Yeah.
people. I'm like, "How are you sleeping?" Because everyone sleeps like shit.
I know.
No one goes
It's
to bed on
true.
time.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm one of the worst with it as far as finding out, like, when I should go to bed.
Yeah. I mean, for myself, I've realized with my recent gut flare up, I think sleep had one of the main components to do with it. And part of it, I work in the service industry, so my hours are a little bit weird. Thankfully, I don't get off at like 2 a.m. I'm usually off at like midnight or so at latest, but I still don't go to sleep till like 2 or 3 a.m. And I might wake up at 9 o'clock or go in and out of sleep until fucking noon. And that's not ideal either. There's no circadian rhythm in any of that. So sleep, I think, is
Dude,
paramount.
definitely is. I have one of my clients, Alex, he won't mind. He does night shifts, so he does, like, overnights, and so he's all fucked up. Like, he's, like, the same way. He, like, sleeps until noon, and I'm kinda like he was trying to, like, have normal days, and he had put this blanket behind me so I could sit up straight 'cause my back is killing me.
Oh,
But he works the night shift, so his days are all flipped, but he was trying to have normal days when he wasn't working.
mhm,
I'm like, "You can't." Like, as much as it sucks, if you can have a consistent schedule, keep it.
mhm.
Like, I understand, like, you might not be, like, doing the night shift forever, and that's, preferable, but while you are, like, keep that sleep schedule that you have. If you're staying up until, uh, 2 AM, like you said, right? Like, normally, and then sleeping until, let's say, 10 or 11, do that on your off days too, and just keep the
Mhm.
same schedule going. He's found it works much better for him.
Yeah.
Realistically, it just turned into him playing a little bit more video games at night, playing some
Yeah.
games with his friends late, and then he doesn't even have to, like, it's not past his bedtime.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And I think
that
that's
worked out
less
well for him.
stressful. Like, truly, that's less stressful than rather than him forcing himself to try and go to sleep at a reasonable time, and he can't physically, and now he's frustrated, rather than just, like, kinda letting yourself fall into your same a sleep schedule and you're able to decompress, play games, have fun, enjoy your days off. Like, I think ideally anyone would prefer that. We're so harsh on ourselves that we should maintain some sort of normal circadian rhythm because that's also less stress induced, but it's per case, per body, per situation, you have to work with that.
Well, and that's some people, like, I think people don't always make that connection of, like, your mental stress has a physical stress factor on your body.
Mhm.
That's why people realize, like, after something, like, super stressful, like, even just studying for a super important exam or something like that, like, after they take the exam, "Oh, you slept for 14 hours after that?" That's
Yeah.
because you were wrecked. Your
Yeah.
body holds on to that stuff, and I think like you said, we're so hard on ourselves,
Mhm.
and being stuck in, like, that go, 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 like, have to do X, Y, and Z, that, like, we don't even see it until we crash. Which, I mean,
Mhm.
that's that's what happened to me, uh, back in November, going down to Miami back and forth a couple times and all that, not giving myself enough recovery time.
Yep. Yep.
We just get
Totally.
in our own way. That's what we do.
Yep. Sometimes though, like life requires those seasons, and that's also okay. But again, how are we like viewing it? How are we with the dialogue that's going on inside that's culminating or cultivating some sort of environment for our body to feel more stressed than it probably should be? We're in our own way, one way or the other. So
Well, and that's, the other thing is, oh, I had it and I lost it. It was
yeah.
right there. I got my notes for a reason. Oh, yeah. Uh, gut brain or brain gut connection, however you wanna say it, is something I talk about with a lot of my clients, because people genuinely, like, don't realize how much of what they feel emotionally is being influenced by what's happening in their gut, like you were saying. So the bi-directional communication is very real, and inflammation, like body inflammation. I know we say inflammation and people are like, what does that mean? But it influences your mood, like your blood sugar, and influences the stability of your mood. Like it goes into so many different things, right? And especially like for women who are going through their cycle, you guys got enough mood shit going on. I don't think you need to add any extra.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, everything
And I
is
mean that in the
affected by
most
it.
loving way. You know what I mean? Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you guys get beat the fuck up because, like, it's really not even a week because it's like the couple days leading up to it, the week, couple days after, and then it's like you guys really get like one good week a month.
That's what us girls always say. We're like, we literally have one good week a month to really fucking shine. Everything else after that is just distorted.
Yeah, because it's just like the build up to
Hmm.
the cycle or the yeah, your luteal phase and then
Yes.
coming back down.
Yes. It's a constant battle.
Like none of that's the thing is that none of these are separate conversations, which seems crazy because we've gone on a couple little mini tangents there. But like they're all the same as far as like mental health is physiological and it's psychological, it's behavioral. You can't really separate them.
Hmm.
It's just that sometimes you got a little bit more eggs in one basket than the other ones,
Yeah.
if
Yep,
that makes
for
sense.
sure. No, for sure. It's true.
Honestly, for people listening, like if you're asking yourself, what can I do? You know what I mean? Because
Mm.
so many people are just stressed beyond belief. And a lot of people undersell it, I have found. I have found more people undersell it than oversell it in my experience. But ask yourself the basics. Am I sleeping? Am I eating in a way that supports my body? Am I managing stress or am I just kind of surviving it? Am I getting outside? Like those questions sound so simple, but
Dude, even
before you go
water.
searching, yeah, yeah, water. I mean, you've been, for those watching instead of just listening, I've been grabbing my water here and there to take a couple sips, you know?
Mhm.
And it is one of those things though. It's like I don't blame people as far as like I've been there. I've been stuck on an assignment for school or, you know, a certain program for a client that I was extra interested in because they had something going on that I hadn't dealt with before, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden I'm 4 hours into working and I haven't moved my body or drank water or
Yes.
anything like that. It happens. And that's why I always say, like, I'm never coaching from a pedestal
Mhm.
because, like, nobody's perfect. This shit fucking happens to all of us. And I think it's so much nicer to be able to be like, hey, I get it. I've been there or I've seen this a million times. This is how we move forward, as
Yeah.
opposed to being like, well, I don't know how you fucked that up.
I know. It's yeah,
You
coming
know,
from a
like,
space of like, dude, I literally like just for like a moment of genuine vulnerability, I have SIBO, which is called small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, and ultimately it is a deep inflammation of the intestines where it causes fermentation, it changes your entire bowel chemistry and your gut flora, all of it. And it creates a slew of symptoms and things. And I've been through this, I don't know, inflammation, like reset at least 4 times. I should know what kind of environment creates this situation, but I just got it again. So I'm like, here I am. I've got to go through this whole thing. I know what creates the issues to begin with, but it doesn't matter.
mhm.
We're cyclical. We're human. It doesn't like as long as you kind of have a baseline sense of awareness of yourself, you can catch the patterns, you can watch yourself fall into it, and you eventually continue to learn more and more how to get yourself out of it. And I'm just like, there's no shame. No one did anything wrong. I was just finding ways to cope and doing what I could at the time, and my body's now signaling me. That's it.
Well, and that's one of the things too, right? Is like you said, your body signals you. A lot
Yeah.
of people don't get the signals because they don't know what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't even looking. And it's one of those things where it's like you don't know what you don't know,
Mm,
right? Even as far as like for as far as signals in our own bodies go. A lot of clients that I get when they're new to the gym, I try not to take super new clients anymore, but
mhm.
when I do, one of my questions on my check-in forms is like, you're rating your pumps in the gym on a scale of 1 to 10. And some people are like, I don't really know. They're like, how is it supposed to feel? Like, my muscles are sore the next day. Like, is that what I'm looking for? So they don't even know like what a pump feels like. And to someone like you or I, who's been, you know, in the gym, lifting weights, things like that for, uh, over a decade, even people just in sports, right? Say you don't
Mhm.
lift a whole lot, uh, even just doing like sprints, like,
Yeah.
after doing a couple rounds of sprints, like your quads feel like they're going to explode. And it's like that is the feeling. For those listening, if you don't know what a pump is supposed to feel like, it's just whatever muscle you're targeting should feel very full. It should feel tight, like pressed up against your skin,
Almost like
almost difficult to
restricted in a
get
way.
to. Yeah, almost like, what's the word I'm looking for? You almost can't get, like, that full contraction, when you
Mhm.
flex the muscle because it's like it's just so full.
Yes.
Um, and a big part of that, if you're not the reason I ask people how their pumps feel in the gym as well is because it's a huge signal for how your diet and everything is surrounding training specifically.
Yes. Diet and,
Forgot
hydration
about
for
food.
sure.
But yeah, that's the thing, right? You don't need crazy pre-workouts or anything like that. And don't get me wrong, I love pre-workout. I will
Yeah.
I don't use it much anymore. I'm usually a coffee guy for the most part now. But I used to be like a crackhead when it came to pre-workout. And I was like, give me all of the stim, all the tingles, all of it. I want it. I want to feel like I'm on crack and trend. That's what I want.
Yeah.
But really all you need is sodium, potassium, water, magnesium.
Mhm.
So just, important stuff. But that is like realistically like your sodium, potassium, water. Those will
Yeah.
give you probably the best pumps that you'll get in your life. A lot of people don't realize that like too much caffeine especially will like inhibit your workout more than help you. Like overloading your system
Right.
with caffeine is gonna have like so many more detrimental side effects. So I see people like dry scooping pre-workout still, which pre-workout comes in a powder because it's water soluble and you're not getting the most out of it if you're not taking it with water. That's a separate conversation. But even taking like two scoops and things like that, it's like and I was this guy again.
Yeah.
I'm talking to me a couple years ago.
Yeah.
700 milligrams of caffeine, like you have a gram of caffeine every day, dude. Like, relax,
Ooh, that's a
relax.
lot.
Fucking
Yeah.
speed running life in not the right way.
Yeah. Well, and so I read somewhere, or I heard someone give this perspective and it really stuck with me. But when it comes to caffeine and like using stimulants to that extent, you're basically overriding your actual conscious awareness of your body's ability at the time. And you can create, like you said, more damage in your tissues, in your joints. You could be lifting more, doing more reps, having more volume then your body is actually able to hold, maintain on a consistent basis. Like you don't just do that one time as far as your like caffeine intake and your stimulant intake. Most of the time you're doing it all the time and you're trying to benefit from, what you can't do without it. And it's way too
Well,
much. Way too much. So yeah,
yeah,
I think that's really important.
the way I like to put it is like every cup of coffee you have, you're borrowing energy from the end of your day. Like that's basically what you're
Yeah,
doing.
that's a good one.
Especially if you're having coffee on an empty stomach or
Hmm.
before. That's another one of my big things. Breakfast, water, then coffee.
Hmm.
Do it.
Yep. Same
Your
thing.
energy will last all day. You won't crash. You'll feel better. You won't get jittery. You won't get sweaty for those of us who get like clammy hands and sticky after a cup of coffee on an empty stomach.
Yes.
Simple things we can do to make ourselves feel better, right?
Yep.
And not just grinding through whatever stressors and things we're dealing with at the moment. Cause I know that's still, I felt like it was going away for a little while. Maybe I just wasn't in the circles that were spewing it, but like that, just the grind culture in general, as far as just like pushing through problems and things like that. Like I think it does real damage, and that's kind of like we're talking about, like taking all that caffeine, taking all those stimulants to get going, things like that. Like it's gonna do real long lasting damage to people and not just like physically, but their mental health.
Right.
The idea that like depression isn't real or anxiety is weakness or that you just need to push harder. Like if someone tells you that, I would seriously question their emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
And it's everywhere, I think, performance culture, especially with the audiences like you and I work with. the identity of a lot of these people is kind of built around not needing help.
Right.
And so I think that's where part of it comes into play.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
their way of coping is performance based. So, I mean, that's equally as bad as some other drug, or taking a whole gram of caffeine in a day. It's stressful in its own way.
exactly. And I mean, effort matters, right? One of my mentors was known as the intensity guy for quite a while. But effort matters, discipline matters. I'm not dismissing any of that. I never will. But you cannot grind your way out of like a dysregulated nervous system and living environment. You just can't willpower your way through chronic stress. That's just not the way that that works. You know,
Yeah.
that's just biology.
Yeah, and I think it comes back again to the idea of how are you sleeping? Because for me, my approach as a coach is really recovery based because you don't get the results if your nervous system, if your body doesn't actually have the recovery it needs in order to build the tissue or to create the environment for it to lose fat and for it to just regulate itself and build tissue and repair itself. So, yes, sleep, nutrition, water, I think those are, and breath. Like, are we able to breathe
Yeah, breath
appropriately
work.
down to like our nervous system's ability to like take in life in those ways, baseline.
I
So,
still catch myself doing that sometimes, like, in the gym. I'll just be standing there and I'm like, "Why am I mouth breathing right now?" I'm like, "I have no reason to
dude,
be fucking huffing and puffing like this." And so I'll, like, consciously, like, close my mouth and start nasal breathing again. It
mm,
makes a huge difference,
mm,
like, in, like, a lot of different ways, even just, like, posture and things like that, like, it's crazy.
yep,
But that all requires, like, serious self-awareness, and it's not
yeah,
somewhere that you get overnight either. And like you said, especially for coaches listening to this, like, struggling doesn't make you a fraud either.
mm,
Like, just because, you're in a rough stretch personally doesn't mean that you're not still showing up for your clients. Because I know plenty of coaches who do feel like that. Like they feel like they have to be this perfect representation of like what they're trying to
like
like
teach
sell.
others.
Yeah. And I understand like emanating your brand, but
Mm,
I feel like part of that needs to be real.
yeah,
And it's one of those things that you can't stick to a diet forever if you can't have like pizza and ice cream sometimes. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
never. I mean,
yeah,
never.
I know. Yep, I agree.
We work with lifestyle clients for the most part, right? So that's one thing. Obviously, if we were talking about competition clients, it's
Hmm.
a little bit different. Like, yeah, if you're in competition prep, no, you're not getting pizza and ice cream sometimes. Welcome to the fucking world you signed up for.
Yeah, that's a sport. That
However,
is the sport.
exactly, you train for the sport.
Mhm.
But there is like a specific version of like the imposter syndrome, right? That just comes from coaching, I feel like. And because it's like you have to look a certain way, you have to be in good shape, people are
Mm,
chasing the physique you have. Uh, and like in your head, if you're not where you want to be physically, like it's like, who am I to tell these people what to do? But that's one of the things, right? Is like to keep it realistic. It's like even now,
mhm,
like I'm not physically in a position where like this isn't physically how I want to look right now. I'm not
mhm.
as conditioned as I would like to be. I've been off plan for a little while and stuff like that. And it's like, I still have a very aspirational physique. I still
Yeah,
have a physique that people come to me for. And it's like, I don't even want it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean? So you got to have a little bit of a reality check sometimes with your clients as well. That is one thing that I think coaching has brought me in my life is like whenever I'm going into a situation, I really have to think like, well, what would I do if one of my clients said that that's what they did? That was the decision they came to. I'd be like, you're a fucking idiot.
mhm,
Why did you do? Why was that the choice you made? You realize you didn't meal prep enough food. Why did you order takeout instead of going to get a rotisserie chicken or whatever? Come on, let's stop making the easy decisions for ourselves.
Yeah, I know.
But I think social media makes it worse because everyone only gets to see like that surface level outside hand-picked perspective, and especially like with the use of AI, I think specifically ChatGPT right now. It's just like it seems like everyone's content is the same,
It's got the
like the
same
exact
tone.
same.
Yeah, it's got the same
The
tone,
same
the same
tone,
way
the
it's
same
written.
delivery, the same
Yes.
opening, the same like and I don't get me wrong, I use fucking AI. I use ChatGPT to help me with some stuff.
Yeah.
For me, it's more organizational structure kind of
Mhm.
situation because my brain is a blender. But like, it's just I feel like every video,
That was
like
funny.
every video I watch is just like, is this and this happening? That's not this. It's
Mhm.
this. And it's just
Yes.
like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, I hate you.
It's in everything too. It's
And
not
it's
just
like
people creating content.
but it's like it's commercials. It's like
Mhm.
it's really everywhere, and it's just like you all sound the same.
Yeah.
And I can't stand it. I would much rather someone's video be, like, a little shittier or whatever than just I
Or
don't know,
even
robotic,
cringy.
I guess would be my plan. Yeah.
Yeah, like, be
Be
a little
you, like, we're
awkward.
supposed to be our brands.
Yeah, be unsure, say a thing wrong, I don't care. It shows the authenticity, it shows that someone's trying, they're not just using the outlet of AI to make sure they look a certain way and be presentable. At the end of the day, like,
And don't get me wrong either, I will use the fuck out of AI. I will
I know.
absolutely use it
Yeah,
to, like, script like, not necessarily script the video, but, like,
like
I don't know
structure.
how to phrase it, like, yeah, but, like, I'll use it to, like, make a transcript, like, for my videos, I will use, like, a transcript so I can, like, read off of it and things like that, like, none of these things are cheating, it's just making it so that you can present the information the right way. I
Right,
have more of an issue with people, especially presenting information that they don't actually know. Like, you just Googled, "Give me, like, 3 fat loss tips," and made a video off of it. What I've had to land on is this basically is perfection is not and should not be the standard, even though we would like it to be.
yeah,
You need to just be aligned. Like, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to find what you can live with, really, you
yeah,
know? And then living it just means navigating the hard parts too, not just performing in the highlight reel for everyone to see.
yeah, absolutely.
Like, I think there's real value that's being lost, you know? With a lot of
Yeah,
these, like because, like, you don't have I don't know, like, especially if especially coaches, hopefully, you're not using it for, like, coaching people because, like, your empathy for a client who's struggling is so much more real, especially when you've gone through a situation like that yourself, and,
mhm,
like, I feel like we're removing the human aspect of so many things already that, like, I don't know, it's heading in a direction that I'm curious to see where it
curious.
goes.
Yeah, I think I always believe that things get worse before they get better, and we as a society and culturally are only going to see that authenticity is way more valuable than AI when AI gets overused and it becomes a saturated form of creating content, and therefore then it's just like people are going to be like rejecting that kind of content. I already am. Anytime I see that, immediately, nope, no thanks,
Honestly,
don't want it.
I do the same thing. Sometimes it's even people I know, and I feel bad about it, but, like, as soon as I see, like, the videos opening and they're like, "You don't have this, it's that," and I'm just like, "Shut up, and
Like, no thanks, no
get
thanks.
out of here."
Yeah, yeah, but the thing about
Man,
authenticity is being able, when you're in a thing like that's uncomfortable, whatever, it only adds value to people if you share it. And that's when something vulnerable doesn't always look perfect. It doesn't always look good to someone else, but people can tell that it's real. And that is a form of connection. Like us as a society, human beings are looking for connection. We're looking for things to relate to another without it having a filter. So I'm here for that. And that's the kind of
And
content I want to put out.
absolutely. And that's something I was gonna say too, is that is one thing I do enjoy greatly about like your videos and the things that you post is like you can tell that it's just you. You know what I mean? Like it's just you being you, which is very like comforting in today's
Thank you.
fucking field, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's a thousand tools out there for anything, whether it's medications, AI, supplements, whatever else is having a moment right now, like peptides and psychedelics and
Hmm.
things. Some of them are genuinely useful. I would even
Hmm.
argue most of them, but that doesn't mean that they have to be for everybody. you know,
Hmm.
None of them work as well as the fundamentals is the
Right.
reality of it, unfortunately. None of them will replace like thinking for yourself or just having some sort of self-awareness or getting your environment right, getting, your basic human inputs as far as like you said your water, your sleep, things like that.
Hmm.
They're not the sexy answers, but they're the real ones.
Yeah.
And I think the message for anyone who's been feeling off, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, it's not necessarily something that's just like broken inside of you, right?
Yeah.
There is probably something in your system that is broken, though, whether it is your environment or your inputs, those might be it. If you fix those, you might realize you were never as far off as you really thought. Because if you literally just fix your sleep and water, like all of a sudden you're well rested and on a regular schedule and hydrated, like
Hmm.
all of a sudden those little minute tasks don't seem so overwhelming. All of a sudden it's a lot easier to get up and go do the thing and whatever. Yeah, I think that's a good note to end on. Is just you might not be as far off as you think.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else for the people?
I don't think so. Just wrapping it full circle is yes, these kinds of things can be monotonous and boring, but they are paramount to us functioning at some base level that is honestly optimal. So finding a coach, finding ways, finding resources, finding the things that work for you are super important to finding your baseline and creating some sort of sustainable maintenance. And it's not pretty, it's not sexy, but it can be easy once implemented and created habitually. Yeah, all of those things are hella
And it
important.
and it can make you prettier and sexier. It might not be
There
pretty
you
and
go.
sexy, but it can make you sexy. So, uh,
Yes, punchline.
thanks for being here with me, Haley, and everyone else. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you. Drop us a comment. Let us know what hit home for you, and we will see you on the next one.
A